this is Steve Rozenberg with Mynd Property Management, and I'm joined today with my good friend Enrique Jevons, who is the Regional District Manager for Mynd for the whole Pacific Northwest Seattle area. Enrique, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you, Steve.
All right, so Enrique, the reason we're doing this video is there has been a new law that just got passed in Seattle regarding tenants' rights and landlord obligations. Why don't you just explain what it is and kind of let's dig right into this.
Yeah, you bet. Okay, so just this last week, so this is just happening right now, the Seattle City Council passed a ban on evictions during 3 months of the year. It was first proposed for 5 months, but then after some negotiations, they whittled it down to 3 months. So for the months of November, December, January, you are simply not allowed, I'm sorry, it's December, January, February, excuse me. December, January, February, you are not allowed as a landlord to evict a tenant that resides within the city of Seattle if it's at all money related. So if it's related towards any kind of criminal activity, something else, a do not comply notice, notice to comply and the residents didn't comply, then you can still evict them on that. But if it's money related, they haven't paid rent type of situation, you're not allowed to evict during these 3 winter months, December, January, February.
So what is the rationale behind that? Like, why? I mean, I understand, I'm guessing they don't want people out on the street, but I have a hard time understanding if I'm an investor or if I own a piece of property, I am obligated by the bank to pay for that mortgage or debt servicing, whoever I owe the money to. And I am forecasting, when I own a business, I have forecasting numbers of what that cash flow will be. So are you saying that you can only factor in 9 months of cash flow now? Is that the answer?
Yeah. So to answer your question, I know we're kind of preaching to the choir here with, predominantly landlords being, the ones who are taking a look at this here. But the reasoning that the city council gave, and this was a 7-0 vote. So This was not even close. This is a 7-0 vote by the city council. Now it's got 30 days before it goes to the mayor. The mayor's got to sign off. The mayor has already verbally expressed concerns with it, saying that this is not something that she wants to sign off on. However, with 7-0, the city council, all they've got to do is, if the mayor doesn't do anything, vetoes it either way, it just goes back to city council. As long as they get at least 6 council members to vote yes, they've already got 7. It's going to go through. So essentially, this is going to go through, and then it's going to take effect right away. So within the next month or so, this new city ordinance is going to take effect. Now, February will have passed at that time, so really we're talking about the enforcement of this new ordinance happening next winter. But the reasoning behind it that you asked about is essentially just that. It's that the idea is that they don't want anybody to be put out on the street during the winter months because it might be cold out. So, and it's again trying to blame homelessness on housing providers, saying that homelessness is a result of both employers paying their employees too much, which means then that they in turn want to rent and purchase nicer homes, which then in turn means that those who are least able to afford it are going to get pushed out of the city, and now, the city is trying to prevent that from happening. So that's kind of the reasoning behind it.
Is there a higher incidence of homelessness during those months statistically? I mean, they're saying that they're trying to curb it. So does that mean for that 3-month period, more people are homeless statistically?
No. And statistic wise, what they're showing is that there were only in the years past 550 evictions that were enforced at a Seattle address during these 3 months of the year. So we're talking about something that might affect 550. So it really does affect a very small portion of the population, of renters. But the difficulty is that, and there are some exceptions. If you own 4 or less units within the city of Seattle, then you are exempt from it. And if your tenant is a high wage earner, that you can also get an exemption. But for the majority of the evictions that occurred, of those 550, they're showing that majority could potentially fall into this 3-month ban of evictions. Of course, the poor. I mean, I'm saying the poor landlord. The landlord still has to make payments on their, on their mortgages, taxes, insurance. It doesn't exempt the landlord. And it's not to say even that you can't evict. It's just saying that the eviction you'll have to postpone the filing of your eviction until after this time period. And there are some intricacies to it. So again, I would highly recommend, of course, if you fall into this area where you have an eviction and it's going to occur during the months of December, January, February, you speak to an attorney, because there are a few exemptions to it. The resident has to specifically when you file, they specifically have to submit as a defense that they would fall under the protection of this new city ordinance. The other thing is to, of course, use a property management company that is well aware of any city ordinances that, constantly keep coming into effect, to make sure that you don't get tripped up by any of these ordinances. You want to just make sure that you're always complying with the law, that you're aware of the law, so that you don't run into any difficulties. And the new ban during these coldest winter months is just a new hurdle that all of us landlords in Seattle have to deal with.
Wow, that's amazing. So that's good to know. So Enrique, if somebody wants to maybe talk to you, how would they get a hold of you to learn more about this?
Sure, you can email me at enrique.jevons@mind.co. That's ENRIQUE.JEVONS@mind.co. That's MYND.co. And you can also just do a Google search for my name. You'll find me.
Enrique's famous. And for those of you that want to know more about real estate and get more involved, where this thing came out was on our Facebook group. So go to our Facebook group. It's the Mastermind, MYND, Mastermind Real Estate Investment Club. Also, if you want, you can listen to our podcast show. It comes out every Friday. It's on iTunes, Spotify, and all other legitimate channels. It's called The Mindful Investor. And there we have top-level real estate investors to brand new investors talking about all the trials and tribulations that go along with real estate. So again, there'll be more to come. We will be doing more videos on this as it evolves. And obviously Enrique is an expert in this industry, so he will be a tip of the spear for us. So Enrique, thank you so much for giving us this information, and we'll be back next time with another video. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to keep the conversation going, join our Facebook group.